Hey guys, it's Heidi here again with Hush Hush Magazine. And today I wanted to talk about a video that's actually been requested by a couple of my friends a lot for the last few months. I've been holding out on it because it's a very tricky topic to talk about, and I didn't want to talk about it before I felt like I had a good amount of experience with it and felt like I had some actual useful information to share besides just ranting from the top of my head. But that topic is dating in LA, and specifically dating in LA as a Black woman, and specifically dating in LA as a dark skinned, um, African woman or Black person with African features or a Black person with non-Eurocentric features, however you want to describe it. But yeah, dating in LA as someone that looks like me with natural hair or kinky hair, dark skin, a broader nose, fuller lips, um, brown eyes, just the basic Black package. And this is something that people have wanted me to talk about because, dating is hard, period, for everyone around the US, maybe all around the world. But there is something very unique about dating in Los Angeles that I think makes it stand out from other places. As you guys know, I've lived in over, I want to say 6 cities and in 3 countries. So I've lived in a lot of places, dated in a lot of places. So I feel relatively qualified to be able to talk about dating in LA. Sorry. Anyway, there's a lot to discuss. So let's just get into it. So I took down some notes so I can be somewhat structured and not be ranting for this whole video. I have 5 main things that I want to point out for folks that don't know. Maybe you're considering moving to LA, or you already live in LA and you're wondering, like, are you the only one having the experience that you're having, or whatever it might be. So I think there are 5 main things that make dating in LA kind of unique or different from other places that I've lived in. And so let's just get into it. The first one is what I call a self-centered culture. And this might offend some LA natives or people that are here, but there is really no denying that LA is one of the most self-centered places I've ever lived in. And I say this because LA is one of the only places where there are a lot of just everyday interactions, just like making eye contact, saying hello, complimenting someone when you see they have nice hair or a cool outfit, or just like casual conversation while you're in the elevator or walking down the street or at the grocery store, whatever it might be. A lot of those things tend not to happen in Los Angeles. And I say this as a former New Yorker. I lived in New York City, and New York City has a reputation of people being busy, 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 no time to talk, no time to chill, people not being super friendly, people not going out of their way to say, like, howdy, ma'am, good morning, like you might find in the South. But even with that, I will say that LA is worse, which I know is hard to believe, but I guess you just gotta live here and experience it to believe it. You guys will not believe how many times I've been in an elevator with people or be wearing like some really cool outfit or have some really cool hairstyle or whatever it is. And day after day, week after week, year after year, nobody will say a thing. Sometimes people will kind of glance over at you and you can kind of tell that, like, they might be contemplating maybe they should say something, but most of the time people will not say anything. I find that people will really only say something if I kind of break the boundary or break the silence. Like if I'm the one to make the first move, like if I tell them, oh, I like your outfit, they will come back and say like, yeah, I was looking at your hair, I really liked it. Um, or if I go out of my way to say like, hey, like, good morning, they might come back and respond, good morning. Um, and so that's something that I found very interesting and very strange. And I call that self-centered because it just feels like people are more focused on what's going on with themselves and their world, that they don't often, I feel like people don't even acknowledge that I'm there. Like they don't even acknowledge my presence. It's almost like I'm invisible. And I feel a huge difference when I'm on the East Coast and then I get on a plane and I hop out and I come to the West Coast. Why? Because on the East Coast, I feel like even if people are not super friendly, especially in New York, like to help me cross the street or whatever it is that people do in the South that's super friendly, when you come in, people will still acknowledge like, hey, yo, like those shoes are dope. Or like, hey, like, I saw you look confused. Like, are you new? Do you need directions? Like, people will still acknowledge you and notice, when you're doing things or when you're making facial expressions or whatever. Even if it's just to meet you in the eye and just raise an eyebrow, or just stare at you. Like, at least they're looking at you. They're acknowledging you. People rarely do that here. When I try to make eye contact with people here, it's kind of like a game of like, how quickly can I avert my stare kind of thing. So that's one thing that I think makes dating in LA difficult. If people won't even acknowledge you or won't even look at you or notice you or start a conversation or compliment you, I feel like that's like 80% of the basis of dating or meeting people or taking people out and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the biggest miss in LA and the biggest difficulty, especially as a Black woman. I have noticed that there are certain other people, perhaps of other races, who maybe might get more noticed. Like you'll catch people kind of staring at them, but it's still kind of similar behavior in the sense that like they're not going to initiate a conversation or necessarily initiate contact. I've heard that at bars or like if you go out that it's different. It's COVID, so I'm not out there on the streets like that, so I can't really attest to that. I mean, I've been to bars and restaurants here and there, and nothing has ever happened at all. But it's not like I go every week to be able to have a significant enough sample size to actually say like, oh yeah, with confidence, like nothing ever happens at a bar in LA. So I don't know. But that's the first thing, the self-centered culture. The second thing is the no effort culture. So if somehow, some way, magically, you're able to get in contact with someone, catch someone's attention, get into a conversation, another thing that you'll notice is that people in LA, and I think it's a West Coast thing in general, but it is especially just dire for Los Angeles men, is this like no effort, low effort, like low key culture. I get the sense that like the men here they don't want to feel like they're working too hard to get a girl. And ideally, the girl will just come to them. They want to just be chilling. Like it kind of makes me think of, when you're in college and you go out to like a frat party or you go to a club and you have the guys that are actually like on the dance floor, like trying to put in some work to like try and like get to know you, try and dance with you. Then you got the guys in the back literally standing against the wall, just like snatching people in and just like having them do all the work to dance and grind while they just stand back against the wall. Those are the LA people. Those are the LA men. They don't really put in that much effort. When I've gone on dates, it wasn't particularly like thoughtful or well thought out or planned out. And I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like the guys here, they're not really trying to do a lot. And it's super common, unfortunately, that you'll find that guys will just especially like if it's like a dating app or something, they'll just want you to come over to their place so that you could just hook up, and that's it. Or maybe they'll just like want to meet you near their place and then just like talk to you and then try to get you to come inside. Like super low effort and super sad. Obviously, not all LA guys are like this. I have met one or two that break that mold, but I'm speaking from kind of like a general, perspective. This is what I've seen. So the no effort culture, not fun, not cute, not cool. The third thing, and this is the one that relates the most specifically to dark-skinned Black women, is colorism and feature-ism. Being in Los Angeles means that you're very enmeshed in the Hollywood culture. The Hollywood culture is very much white culture, Kim Kardashian culture, where looking a certain way and proximity to whiteness is highly, highly, highly valued. But then at the same time, it's kind of like proximity to whiteness, but like having certain Black features, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because they're not actually necessarily Black features, but they're features that have been associated with Blackness in popular culture, like having bigger boobs or having a bigger butt or having thicker thighs. So it's kind of like people are kind of selecting features that are just trending, and in this moment the Kim Kardashian look is what is trending. And so the more you look like that, the more attention you'll get, especially from men. And so the less you look like that, the less attention you get. And that when you combine that with the no effort culture and with the self-centered culture, especially as a dark-skinned Black woman, it can definitely make you feel like, are you even there? I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from so many friends of mine, especially Black female friends of mine, who talk about how they'll get all dolled up, get super glammed up, and they're looking stunner. They're looking fire. They're looking like jaw-dropping gorgeous. And they'll go out and not get any looks, not get any attention, not be able to strike up any conversation, and just generally struggle for weeks and months and years just trying to go on dates and meet cool guys, which is like mind-blowing. There's a friend of mine that I met who is literally a model. Like, she's a model, she's stunning, she's beautiful. Obviously, like, beauty is always in the eye of the beholder, but this is someone who's objectively gorgeous. And she's struggled with this living in LA for over 6-7 years. So this is not something that's like even unique to the pandemic. This is something that's been going on for a long time that I know that I didn't know about. And I had to find out the hard way when I actually moved here and wanted to start dating. So yeah, the colorism and the feature-ism is very real, especially if you're a dark-skinned Black woman. It's really hard to get the type of courting and the type of availability from high-quality men that you deserve to have, especially like when you're in your 20s, 30s, and you're really keen on getting to know people and going on dates. Is super frustrating. But I've seen this with older friends as well, like in their 40s and 50s. Like, it's just super tough, guys. So that's the colorism and feature-ism piece. And then the fourth piece is, let's say some way, somehow, you manage to get past all these hurdles. You find like the one man or the two men in LA who are not self-centered, willing to put in some effort, not racist, not colorist, not featurist. A trend that I've noticed, and I thought that it was just me until I started hearing other people talking about it as well, is there is this very strange, extreme dichotomy here of marriage or hookup and nothing in between. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've met a couple of people here where it's like, they're like, yeah, I just want to hook up. And they could be like 30, 40, 50 years old. And it's just like, nope, just want to hook up, just want to have fun, just want to have a good time, which nothing wrong with that. But it's very heavy here. Like in other places, I feel like generally people will be down to hook up, but always kind of open to it potentially developing into something more. Because of course everyone has physical needs, but also everyone has, more long-term needs as well. But that doesn't come up with these people, which makes it a bit weird. And then you'll meet people on the complete opposite side of the spectrum who it kind of seems like they've been in the LA market for so long and having such a hard time finding quality people that they get along with and can have great conversations with, that they meet you and they're like, oh my God, I found the one. And they are like jumping into it super fast, becoming attached super fast, wanting to talk to you all the time, telling you they're so incredible, even though it's been literally like 4 hours that they've known you, and literally bringing up marriage. Like, I've had people literally bring up marriage and like, let's go get a ring today, tomorrow, like really intense stuff. And again, I thought it was just me, but then I spoke to some other people and I heard the same thing, that there's some really unhealthy attachments and just like really strange behaviors going on where people either want to get married tomorrow or just want to hook up for the rest of their life and nothing in between. Like, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy out here. Um, yeah. So that's that. Super frustrating because, again, like normally it's more balanced and in between, which makes dating more fun and easier, whatever. You don't really get that here. You have to like be, constantly navigating between these strange and like extreme um, ways of dating and attachment styles. And then the last thing, the fifth thing, is COVID, which is not really like LA specific. But COVID definitely makes dating harder for all the reasons you might imagine. And here I feel like it's a whole other layer because I would say that you can do 60-70% of the things in LA without having to really like be indoors or be in an indoor place. But one of those things that is a bit harder is like going to bars and going to clubs. And I know that's a place where a lot of people do kind of romantically intersect or meet with each other. And so that's made it harder because there are, I would say, more bars and clubs that are indoors than not. Um, Again, I've never really heard that many people saying that there are great things happening at the bars or the clubs, but I know people always say like, oh, you need to go out, you need to be doing stuff. LA is like, a happening city where everything happens outside, so you can't just meet somebody from your house. But this is complicated when, let's say you want to go to an art show, but it's all indoors. And some people respect COVID, but some people don't. And so they're going to have their mask off. And so it's like, if someone's coming to you with their mask off, chatting you up indoors, then it's like you're already like not even compatible. So I think this layer of COVID has made dating even more complicated because then from the pool of people that you could have been interested in, for me, it feels like that's even cut in half again because half of them either don't understand how COVID works or don't respect how COVID works or don't respect your preferences as to how you want to manage COVID. And so it makes the dating pool even smaller. So those are the 5 things. Trying to turn on my laptop. Yeah, those are the 5 things: self-centered culture, no effort culture, colorism, feature-ism, racism, marriage or hookup culture, and COVID making everything just even worse on top of it all. And those are the reasons why dating in Los Angeles, especially as a black, dark-skinned woman, are difficult. So, again, I'm not going to say this is all LA men, or that it will be impossible. I have some girlfriends that have found boyfriends or gotten into relationships here in LA, but they have all been either, more Eurocentric looking people or just straight up like white women. Um, So, if you are a dark skinned black woman who lives in LA and met someone in LA, or had any kind of success, like definitely please comment because, I think we would like to know how that happened and maybe there's something that I'm missing in this picture. I've only been here a little under 2 years. So any other anecdotes that people might have are welcome. But that's what I have for now. I hope that's helpful to someone out there and talk to you guys next time.